Hair is a component that can be easily changed in order to alter the physical appearance of a person. Haircuts, hairstyles, and even hair dyes can change the perceived age and modify an onlooker's perception of a person's personality and traits. Men and women are both equally and obsessively conscious about their hairstyles. In one study, it has been shown that young adult males prefer longer hair on women, and children seem to adore long hair and associate positive features with it, such as vitality and cheerfulness. Unsurprisingly, according to another research paper, the hair on the scalp can profoundly affect an individual's physical appearance. But as I'll dissect in this video, potential aesthetic gains are dependent on face shape and facial features. This video will be about female hairstyles, while the next in the series will be for males to give each topic a decent amount of coverage. Mesko and Berezki conducted an experiment with 77 female subjects with a mean age of 22 years and a range between 18 to 29. Photo portraits of the subjects were taken with the hair pulled back and fixed with clips so that the length and style of the hair were not visible. This image, identified as the basic face, was used to judge the attractiveness of the subjects on a 1 to 6 scale by 30 young men. Based on their judgments, 20 individual faces were then selected from the 77 and categorized as the 10 most attractive and 10 least attractive women. Following this, a computer program was used to lay different hairstyles on the basic faces of the selected 20 women. The hairstyles used were mainly short to medium length, long, disheveled, and an unkempt knot. However, hair color was kept constant at brown, which was the most common hair color in Hungary where this took place. Each of the selected 20 women were then presented with 4 different hairstyles, so a basic face plus 3 other hairstyles, to a group of 82 males who were then asked to judge the attractiveness. The effect of the hairstyles on attractiveness was calculated by subtracting the scores of the basic face pictures from those of the haired ones. For instance, someone who was rated at 5 out of 10 goes up to a 6 out of 10 would associate that change to the hairstyle independent variable. Additionally, the male participants were also asked to rate the female faces on 10 different attributes: young, dominant, independent, feminine, honest, intelligent, healthy, caring, emotional, and self-assured, using a 7-point Likert scale. In order to avoid bias based on facial attractiveness, only women that received equal scores for basic face were compared with each other. Long and short hair were used and each trait was rated from 1 to 7, and the mean scores were separately constructed for each group. The results revealed that, in general, long and medium length hair enhanced the subject's perceived facial attractiveness, and this increase was much more pronounced for women whose faces were rated as less attractive. It's why someone with strong facial harmony, like Ruby Rose, can pull off the short hair look and make it such a defining part of her aesthetic, but for others, cutting it off can be a very regrettable decision. From further analysis, it was also established that long and short hair had significant effects on the perception of personality attributes. It is evident from this experiment that long hair accentuates mature qualities such as femininity, intelligence, dominance, and health, while short hair enhances juvenile traits such as honesty, warmth, caring, and emotion. Therefore, it can be concluded that long and medium length hairstyles have significant positive effects on a woman's attractiveness, whereas other hairstyles such as a short or a bun will not significantly influence the values of physical beauty. Short hair won't act as a negative by itself, but if you lack the gammon facial features that are needed, it will work strongly against you. The authors of that study believe that it agreed with the good genes model, which is a recurring topic whenever we talk about facial aesthetics. It suggests that facial traits that indicate strong genetic resistance and health, such as symmetry and dimorphism, are seen as more attractive. In this case, feminine dimorphism would imply having long, healthy hair, which is physiologically costly to grow and maintain. Much like a male peacock and its tail feathers, it's attractive because it's just so impractical. Another psychological model that we need to consider is Cunningham's central face theory, where Cunningham et al. Found that central facial features such as the eyes and chin are more important than peripheral ones. For women, this includes big eyes and a small chin, and for men, wide vertically narrow eyes and a wide chin. From the Berezki and Mesko hair experiment that we just covered, this agrees with the results, as the most preferred portraits had neotenous central facial features of big eyes and mature peripheral ones, such as long hair. However, it should be noted that hairstyle by itself did not reverse the original evaluations based only on facial features. Different hairstyles did not greatly affect the physical appearance of the attractive subjects, as attributes such as health and femininity were highly rated regardless of the hairstyle. So it seems that physical beauty is primarily decided by facial features, and hairstyle only seems to have a secondary influence. It has been suggested that in females, expressive facial features that facilitate non-verbal communication, such as a large smile, dilated pupils, raised eyebrows, etc., are considered to be more desirable, as they contribute to the attractiveness of the face and can convey feelings of excitement, arousal, friendliness, and warmth. Even though hair length and styles are not exactly expressive features, they can alter how facial expressions are perceived. To look at how different cultures respond to hair, a study was conducted by Cunningham and colleagues based on responses from individuals of 4 different ethnic groups, exposed to photos of women from 13 different countries. Hairstyle as a variable was expected to show a wide spectrum of results across cultural groups, as it could be controlled and is closely linked to culture and context. According to the results, Asian, Hispanic, and white judges were remarkably consistent in the judgment of attractiveness and provided similar ratings of Hispanic, Asian, and white female faces. Faces with juvenile features such as large eyes and small noses, along with sexually mature, narrower female faces with smaller chins, expressive higher eyebrows, dilated pupils, larger lower lips, larger smiles, and well-groomed full heads of hair, received higher ratings from all the groups. The study also found that hair length and width was an important factor for all of the judges. Both black and white judges rated these 2 factors as having equal correlation to attraction, higher than your stereotypical features such as cheekbone prominence or eyebrow thickness. In contrast, non-Asians placed hair length and width at lower importance than Asians, but still reasonably significant. While these studies look at straight hair, many people of color actually have curly or kinked hair, which is a lot harder to determine as there's a lack of cohesive research on it. Older women very commonly curl and cut their hair shorter to increase apparent hair density, which research has shown does actually work. In one study by Bernard et al., it was strongly decided that curled hair made the wearer look years older, likely because of older women adopting the look, and thus by the theory of genetic fitness, less attractive than straight hair, but only by a small margin. Instead, all variants of the short hair, be it wavy or straight, all rated equally low. Now there's a very clear limitation with this study in that it's using blonde Caucasian models who typically have straight hair. The curly hair would go against the familiarity theory of attractiveness, and it's something that's out of the norm for that group, and thus more unfamiliar. In that same vein, curly hair on women of color is seen as a lot more attractive and better suited as it shows up in those ethnic groups more commonly. However, there is an underlying problem that people of color face in wearing their natural hair. Studies have shown that curly hair is seen as less professional. Hairstyles such as braids, cornrows, afros, and dreads were recently added to the New York City's human rights guidelines to prevent discrimination. Granted that wearing brightly pink mohawks to work is also unprofessional for just about anybody, the analogy isn't quite the same for black people with kinky hair, as hair texture was traditionally used as a means of justifying discrimination, while getting a reverse mohawk like Bexy is an act of self-expression and nothing more. Afrocentric hairstyles are the ones best suited to the curly hair type and more of a necessity than the former. In a 2020 Duke University study by Rosette and colleagues, they found that black women wearing natural hairstyles such as braids were less likely to get a callback in interviews, were seen as less professional, and received more negative evaluations, which was repeated in different trials. In contrast, when working in a creative-based job such as an ad agency, this mattered much less. The authors noted that this could be part of the reason for women of color in general choosing to straighten their hair. A university thesis by Kaylin Kennedy explains this phenomena using Haleman's 1983 lack of fit model, where black women with Afrocentric hairstyles are seen as more dominant, and this goes against the feminine status quo of being submissive in the workplace. This is an oversimplification of a larger issue, but also does highlight that hair is not just a grooming tool for facial attractiveness, but one of self-expression and social mobility. So, to summarize the content, there is a large body of work that supports the theory that longer hair is seen as more attractive because it's feminine. People like Ruby Rose are not the exception. If anything, they support the theory proposed, as hair is just another facial feature. Someone with strong bone structure can pull off any look, as I'll explain in the next episode on men's hairstyles. The specific way you style your hair, be it wavy or straight, is dependent on the familiarity model. Whatever hairstyle and color is more commonly present in your ethnicity is the one that would complement your features the best, because that's what the cross-cultural research shows. Judges are better at appreciating beauty when the face looks like what they expect the phenotypical face to look like. For instance, for African women of color, dark curlier hair; for South and East Asians, jet black straight hair; Scandinavian Europeans, wavy blonde hair, and so on. I'd guess that someone with attractive facial features may actually benefit from going against this norm in branding themselves as unique, which is exactly what Ruby Rose and Amber Rose have done. This is very commonly seen in modeling, where the faces look like nothing that you would expect, but for someone of average or low attractiveness, the research points to taking advantage of these ideal hairstyle traits to their fullest benefit, as it is effective. If you would like to get your own facial aesthetic analyzed, you can order a report at koos.com and see how your hairstyle influences your own face.